and we want to welcome you here to the historic Calvary Baptist Church studio here in Paterson, New Jersey. Honored, I'm your host, Assad Akhter, a Paterson resident, and we want to welcome you here to the first edition of what will be a few editions talking to the mayoral candidates for the 2022 mayoral race on May 10th. And it's important that everybody, regardless of who you are or who you're voting for, come out to vote, because Paterson has to have a voice and all Patersonians have to have their vote registered. So it's my honor to, as our first guest, are the mayor of the Silk City, Andre Sayegh. Mayor, thanks for being the first to join us here.
Thank you, Assad. I guess it pays to be 1A on the ballot.
And that's where you can find him on the ballot. Again, May 10th, and I'm going to stress this many times, it is important that you come out to vote, regardless of who you support, but we're going to ask questions of all the candidates, and we want to be fair. So, Mayor, you've been you raised in Paterson, you were a Board of Education member, you were a councilman in the 6th Ward, where I was proud to live at one time, now in the 3rd Ward. Then you ran against Mayor Torres, you ran against Mayor Jones, and then third time's a charm. You've been right. 4 years ago, you're able to be the mayor. What does it say about you in terms of, if there's a word or a phrase, real quick, what is that journey? What does that say about you, real quick? How would you define yourself?
First of all, it's interesting, right? You live in the 6th Ward, I live in the 6th Ward, you move to the 3rd Ward, I move to the 3rd Ward. Who's following who?
Yeah, right.
But nevertheless, as far as the third time being the charm, I feel like when all else fails, persistence will prevail. Mm-hmm. That's just, I live by that. And I think it's helped me through this once-in-a-century crisis, because you have to be persistent, you have to be resilient to lead your city in a time of turmoil, in a time of trauma. Right. But I've also learned during this pandemic there's power in partnerships with the nonprofit world, with the faith-based community. Right. We're here at Calvary. Historic Calvary, on the leadership of Pastor Randall Moses Lassiter, opened up the doors so that thousands of people could be vaccinated. So they saved lives here at this church. Yes, and we want to thank the pastor for his leadership and for opening up the studio, which is a new feature, and to give more access to not just the congregation, but all Patersonians to get more information. So, Mayor, you said persistence, and that's important. That's a defining characteristic for you. I think one of the issues that the thing that we're hearing so much was quality of life. Yeah, you've done a great job. I think a lot of people would say in bringing development to the city. But a lot of the quality of life issues over the last few years, a lot of people still feel like they're struggling. And one of those issues is crime, right? And we've seen, it's not just Paterson, it's every major city in America has seen a record rises in crime. Maybe not a surprise during this pandemic. But I don't want to talk about the past. I want to talk about the future. Yeah. If you get reelected, what's your 4-year plan to address crime in this city? Well, the governor was here today. Governor Murphy was at St. Luke Baptist Church announcing a package of bills that he hopes that will be adopted to help us reduce gun violence. Mm-hmm. And he did mention Camden, Trenton, Newark, Jersey City, and Paterson. Right. What we're doing locally, because you can't police all your problems away, but we are still suffering from the fact that in 2011, over 125 officers were laid off. Right. But we are consistently applying for grant funding. I got to give the congressman a lot of credit, and you acquitted yourself well. You were the district director / deputy chief of staff. He got us more cops money. Usually we get 10 new cops. Now he got us 20 new cops. Right. So we're going to get to over 400. So where are we now? So right now we're about at 400. Yeah. We want to get to, our table organization states we can get to 439. Right. So we get to 439, get a full complement. We have about 17 in the academy now. We're going to have another academy coming up in the summer. But Lieutenant Sharon Easton and I launched this initiative to aggressively recruit Patersonians. We want our police department to reflect the people that we protect and serve. Mm-hmm. So we're in the high schools, we're in the colleges, we're going out to the houses of worship and saying, look, we want you to serve your community. You want to live in the community, serve the community. Exactly. Who knows the neighborhoods better than the people that live there? And you feel safer when you know an officer lives on the block. Let me take you to another issue, trash. Yeah. This city has always had trouble staying clean, keeping clean, and enforcing the rules, right? Yes. Because I see it all the time. You have one house that's meticulously maintained, but then the next house, there's no maintenance, there's no finding, there's a business next door, and they're just leaving trash all over, and nobody's finding them, nobody's doing anything. It leads to quality of life issue. So what's the plan again moving forward? What's the plan to address sanitation and I'll admit we've had some challenges, especially it's been exacerbated by the pandemic, where some employees just didn't want to come to work. We had to discipline them. Right. So whether it was in recycling, which is in-house, or with the contract that we have with Roselli, those into the subcontractor that does the trash. But here's the plan going forward. We believe we've stabilized recycling right now. Okay. In fact, we are rewarding our employees for coming in. We're giving them premium pay through the American Rescue Plan money.
Okay.
So I think that's motivated more people knowing that they are appreciated and that they're going to be rewarded for the work that they're performing.
Okay.
But we've also done something where we're going outside,
Yeah.
a little divergent thinking here, and we pride ourselves on doing that. We hired the Wells Cleaning Company through Urban Enterprise Zone money.
Okay.
So Tashawn Wells, local businessman, Patersonian,
Right.
his company will be cleaning commercial corridors.
Okay.
So we've identified areas where he can have a positive
And
impact.
when's that going to start?
That's actually starting as we speak.
Okay. All right.
We made that announcement last week, so we're very proud of Tashawn Wells, Paterson's own.
I'm going to bring you to an issue now that every
Yes.
mayor and every politician in New Jersey dreads talking about: property taxes.
Oh.
Right, and that's a tough one because it's not just people forget. I mean, as a former county official, I know
That's right.
people forget. It's not just the city that the city may be the one sending you the bill, but you got the county tax bill, you got the school, you got the schools, and you got the city. But you're part of the levy, right? You're part of the levy.
I am.
Well,
the city is.
The city is. But in next 4 years administration, what's your plan to address property taxes moving forward?
Now, you mentioned the word levy.
Yeah.
So let me just identify what we did.
Yeah.
2021,
Yeah.
first time in a long time
Yeah.
that the municipal portion, our levy, was flat. We didn't raise taxes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, as a school district, we've seen consecutive years where we've seen a double-digit increase.
Yeah.
How can we offset this property tax burden?
Right.
Well, obviously the governor's laser focused on it. But here, you talked about development.
Right.
Eventually, we're going to start seeing
Right.
ratables.
Right.
You're going to see tax revenue generated.
Right.
As of right, they do get abatements, these developers, for new construction. But those abatements will expire, and hopefully that'll help contribute to the tax base.
Well, what do you say to the folks that worry that development is only going to crowd our schools that are already overcrowded?
Yeah, well, here's what I'd like
Yeah,
to say.
yeah.
It's not like we're neglecting the fact that our population is growing. I think we
Yeah.
hit a home run with the census.
Yeah, we did. No,
We
no.
focused on that. We said, look, we are not only undercounted, but as a result, we're underfunded.
Right. Right.
So we took a derelict property in Leader Die. It was assessed at $2.2 million, and we sold it. We auctioned it for about $7.6 million. That's going to be a charter school.
Right.
Hundreds of students are going to get a quality education on what was once an eyesore.
Right.
And we support fully funding our school system so that it can offset any of the burden on our tax base and also any overcrowding conditions that exist in our city. So we've petitioned the governor, and we've also said, look, we're not opposed to expanding charter schools as well, because we need to get suitable classrooms that are conducive for a high quality education for our youth. Okay. Your children and mine.
And we're both raising our families in Paterson, and we want a better future.
You're doing a good job.
Well, you have to ask my wife. I don't know if she'd always agree.
Well, if you're raising them as Mets fans, you're doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Because you need to know what hardship's like in life.
Right, exactly. So let me ask you, not just as mayor, your whole career, right? It doesn't even have to be public service. What is the accomplishment that you, or the effort that you are most proud of?
Oh.
If there's one.
That's actually an easy one.
Yeah.
6th Ward councilman. Mm-hmm. We had a notorious nightclub that was compromising the quality of life for the residents in that neighborhood. Mm-hmm. It was called the Lava Lounge. It erupted, right? Mm-hmm. You had guns, you had drugs, you had prostitution. There, in a working class neighborhood. And these families could not get a decent night's sleep.
Right.
We rallied those folks. Those residents were of different backgrounds, ethnic and racial, but they all came together. One cause. We closed it down. And then we enlisted the support of Dr. Brenda Belmont, who already had a preschool, Gilmore Memorial, and Site 2 opened up there at the Lava Lounge, the old site of the Lava Lounge. Right. So we turned a negative into a positive. Okay. And now to this day, we have 3- and 4-year-olds at that preschool getting a high quality education. Thank you, Brenda Belmont, and thank you, Dr. Brenda Belmont, and all the residents that stood up.
Well, there you go. Now let me ask you the opposite. What's the toughest nut to crack? The thing that you feel like you haven't been able to address, the thing you wanted to get done, but you haven't gotten it done yet?
Well, I think we alluded to it earlier as far as gun violence is concerned. I mean, it hurts my heart, right? Especially when you have victims, innocent victims. For example, let me take you back. So it was about 2 years ago in December. Mm-hmm. You had a 14-year-old on her porch. She got shot. Now she told me she doesn't want to go on her porch anymore. Last year in July, you had a 75-year-old. She had the pharmacy on 10th Ave. She got shot. And now this year, you had Robert Quadra, 18-year-old, just got accepted to Montclair State University, got a scholarship, shot and killed, caught in a crossfire while he was helping his grandmother deliver groceries.
Nothing to do with the...
No. And we have gotten, the police department took 219 guns off the streets last year. Mm-hmm. The year before, 200 guns. This year so far, year to date, 30.
Yeah.
So we're on track for another 200. That's a lot of guns. That's why the governor was here today.
Yeah. Well, look, we're going to end on a fun note, all right?
Oh.
You take pride in being a Patersonian.
I do.
And let me ask you, what's the one thing? It could be anything. It could be food. It could be a place. It could be experience. It could be a sound. Whatever you want. What's the one thing that you feel is like a truly quintessential Paterson experience for you?
Hinchcliffe Stadium. It totally is.
Yeah.
First, people pronounce it Hinchcliffe when it's really Hinchcliffe, but you're a real Pattersonian if you say Hinchcliffe. It's true.
Okay.
Vaughn McCoy says it that way. Maybe Pastor Lasso says that way too. But nevertheless, it's Hinchcliffe Stadium. Why? Because it is not only a city treasure, it's a national treasure. Think about what happened there. When African Americans were excluded from playing baseball in the major leagues, they had a home in Hinchcliffe. They played in Paterson.
Right.
It's our field of dreams.
Right.
And it'll be a field of dreams for future Pattersonians.
Well, there we go. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mayor. We appreciate it. We wish you the best of luck. I want to thank everybody for joining us for this edition of our conversations with all the mayoral candidates. Remember, no matter who you vote for, you got to show up on May 10th, whether you vote early or you vote at the polls. You got to show up on May 10th. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends. It's time for Paterson to show up, and we'll be back with you for another edition. Thank you so much.